personality. I think a lot of people come through here. If you come through here in the morning, you see people cycling through, and they're cycling through either into town, into work, or they're going that way into the East Wall, the IFSC down there. Yeah. And I think maybe, you know, even to come in that gate and go out that gate, you've left the hustle and bustle. You know, you've left the traffic and the mayhem, and you've just come into a nice, green, serene space.
It's a little bit of outside in the middle of the city. You know, it's a little bit of the countryside in the middle of the city, literally. Yeah.
It's lovely. It's kind of a great shortcut into, you know, East Wall or somewhere like that. When you've got friends down there, you just cut through the park, and it's just a nice walk.
Just people need to be able to get out in the air as much as possible. We're always cooped up in offices and houses, and the Fairview Marino community is so strong, you know, and they're starting to use this park a lot more, and that builds the atmosphere and the kind of personality that it's going to have, you know. So yeah, I think it's kind of in the making at the moment.
Anyone new that turns up into boot camp, what usually happens is they're immediately welcomed into the group. There's no outcasts in boot camp at all. Straight away, they're in straight into the group, and they're training hard. During the winter months, you could get maybe up to, you know, you could have between 15 to 20 people. During the summer classes, you could have maybe 35 plus. 90% of the people that turn up are actually females, but you could have guys turn up here that could be 18 years old, inter-county footballers coming back off injury, trying to get that little extra edge to get them through a game. And then on the other hand, then you could have maybe a 55-year-old woman, okay, who's decided to get into fitness for the first time in maybe 30 years. So again, like, everyone is catered for. We don't go running off, no one's left behind, no one is left feeling I'm letting the group down. If people give 100%, the instructors are always going to be happy.
10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, I used to go to the gym, but I didn't get much out of it, so I got a Group 1 deal voucher in January. Tried it for 2 weeks, and I got addicted, so now I'm joined for 6 months and hopefully for another 6 months. It's a great crowd and helps, keeps you motivated being in a group. We encourage each other and, you know, try to work as good as the other one does, and, you know, try to put the other one after you. So we do encourage each other, so it does help, and it's a good crowd. Everybody's nice and it does help.
Remember these exercises. Stand by for a quick count. 10, 9.
Every single boot camp instructor will turn up an hour before the class. They will set out the session. The session that I have set out here is a session that I have not done here before, and all the other boot camp instructors would be the same. And this session here now is a session that I can probably safely say that, like, no other boot camp instructor would have done this session, but I wouldn't have done any of the other boot camp instructor sessions as well. And people have their own little tweaks. Like, I like using the poles, I like going over, under. Some guys like getting the clients out and really putting them down in it, and crawling and running and jumping and jockey backing and wheelbarrow racing and all that sort of stuff and all. But that'd be their thing. But every instructor has their you know,
10,
their niche.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Standing up, find your partner. Let's go. Quick arm roll, then it's a drink of water. Stand by.
It must have been about 5 years ago, I think I got into it. I was very unhealthy and out of shape. So I started to take up running over the winter, and a friend of mine saw this advertised and she dragged me along, and I've been hooked ever since, really. So about 5 years now. I mean, coming on a regular basis. They're no two classes the same, so 1 week the instructor might work on, you know, do a lot of running, improve your sprint work, fat deck training, whatever. Another guy might come in the following Wednesday, whatever, do a lot of core work. So you're getting a good all-round varied training as you progress, as you sort of come week in, week out. You know, the variety, I think, is the spice of life, as they say, so that definitely makes a difference.
Station, partner off. recommend the guys stay together, the ladies stay together.
Well, I think a lot of people, when they think of boot camp, they probably think the scary American, someone shouting at you for the hour of the class. And when they come down, they find out that it's different. And they'll see the instructors are there, they're there to motivate you, they're there to get the most out of, or get the most out of you. And they're there to push you to your max. And I think like what happens is people come down for one class, they start to see results, they start to see themselves getting fitter. One session they might do 5 press-ups, the next session they do 6, they do 10, they do 15. So they just constantly build on their fitness.
There would be a part of boot camp that is social. People turn up, you get a lot of people here that live outside Dublin. And when they turn up to boot camp here, you'll hear by their accents that they're coming in and all. They're maybe working in the city, they're looking for a way to get fit. And also then they come up and it's a very social, you know, people do be talking away and they'd be saying, oh, good session tonight, are you coming again on Thursday? Why don't you avail of the free session on a Saturday morning? After Saturday then, do you want to go for a recovery run? We're going to the cinema tonight. So you'll see it's very, very social.
Let's go.
10 years ago when I started, there were some people in my first class that are still really good friends of mine. You come down and you're there together, you're there pushing yourselves hard in the class. So the kind of friendships you make in the class are ones that tend to last. So, and it's not just in the class as well, it's outside of the class. You know, we might go up to a mountain session, or there could be like a surf trip or a ski trip. There's lots of other sides, or lots of other things to the boot camp and to the social side of it as well.
Let's walk. Come on, let's go. There's more in there.
Even when you come to a class, you see the same sort of faces regularly, and you kind of from a similar sort of area. So inevitably, you kind of meet up, sort of operate boot camp effectively of your own accord. And one of the girls from here has actually set up a Marino boot camp Facebook page, so we kind of interact with each other quite a lot on that. Organise like local meetups, just you know, in Drumcondra or Fairview, so on. So there's a lot of Marino mayhem, as it's called, going on.
First of all, I think it's addictive. Once you do get into it, you tend to not really be able to do without it. It's just the feeling of being outdoors, feeling motivated. You're here with the instructors. The hardest part will probably be leaving your house and coming down to the session. But once you get down to the session, it's hard to do without. And you'll notice, even if you miss it one week, you'll definitely notice that you haven't been here. And when you start to feel fitter, when you start to feel a bit better about yourself, I think you'll be hard pressed to do without it.
Ladies, let's go. Get in there. That's it, lads. Well done. Okay. That's it. That's it. You have it. Perfect. Okay, next time you start the team sprint is from the deck. From the ground. On the ground. Come on, let's go. Let's get up there. 20 seconds gone already. That's it. Come on, keep going. Keep going. It's not going to last forever. Come on. Whistle's going to go in 12 seconds. Keep going. Keep going. There's a little bit more in the sit-ups. There's more in there.
My name is Patrick Burke. I'm living here in Fairview for 25 years now, and I'm the Vice Chair of Fairview Residents Association. This is the Residents Association and the businesses together that are after arranging this family fun day here today. The businesses are doing most of the funding and we do most of the publicity and things like that about it.
The whole idea behind it is to put a little bit of sunshine into people's lives in the dull days that we're living. And we've been out dropping leaflets all week and getting the people that's living in the area to come out and have a day.
This is great because you have people of all ages here, like from babies, newly born babies to pensioners here, which is great, you know, so it's bringing the whole place more alive. And in recessionary times, some more free people can go and talk, which is what people need to do, really, you know, so.
Jimmy from Bram's, one of the local coffee shops, he's basically the driving force behind it, and he got a lot of businesses, the local businesses involved, and it's just great because you come down and you see the local kids, you know, all the local stuff. It's like the local dancing school, the local Marino tech, and everybody's doing their little bit, you know.
Today, the main thing is the music, I think. There's a few bands that we can hear there in the background. I think there's a bit of Irish dancing going on. There was like a samba drum band playing earlier, so there's music there all day.
Well, this is the Fairview and Marino Business Association have organised this, and it's really about bringing people together to think and shop local and do business in a local environment, you know.
There's a great range from doctors, psychotherapists to small cafes, to takeaways, bank. We've got every mix here, legal profession, they're all here. So it's a vibrant living village.
You know, I think thinking locally and sourcing stuff, you know, even just, you know, in very small little businesses and all that is great, because, you know, with the unemployment, a lot of companies are not taking on staff, and you have to be creative in a recession. And I think people are being, and especially young people, which is great, you know.
Well, we have a fruit and vegetable shop just around the corner on St. Aidan's Park Road, the Fresh Market. We've been there about 4 years, and last year was the first family day out. Such it was organised by Jimmy, actually, next door in Bram's Cafe, who's done a great job. And it's just an opportunity for businesses to get out, put up a stall. We're just giving out free fruit all day. It's a way of saying thanks to the guys that have supported us over the last few years, and then for people to see who we are, and you know, they might come around to the shop then.
I suppose my accent gives me away. I'm actually from Kerry, so. But I'm living here a long time, and I absolutely love Dublin. I love Fairview, Marino. I love the people from the area. They're really warm. They've always been very welcoming to me since I moved in here. This is my second business here in Fairview, and they've always been very well supported. I know a lot of them come in to slag me about Kerry football and stuff like that, but it's all done in good spirit, and I enjoy it actually. And over the next couple of years we hope to work closely with Dublin City Council and to create a village atmosphere that people will come here, do a bit of shopping, you know, and a live village that's vibrant will stay alive, and it builds the community and brings the community together.
To be honest with you, 10 years ago it wasn't considered a great place to go, but it got a revamp there last year, and the facilities are really good. Like, I would have killed for that skate park when I was growing up, you know. I couldn't believe it when they put it in. But I think days like this, the Fairview Marino community is so strong, you know, and they're starting to use this park a lot more, and that builds the atmosphere and the kind of personality that it's going to have.
The trees are the lungs of the city, you know, and for the pollution, you combat pollution, and you know, in a way that they give people a sense of belonging as well, and continuity, a park as well. You know that I know myself as a child coming here, the original bandstand here. I remember, I have great memories of being in this park as a child myself, which is about 50 years ago.
I think there is one thing about parks is that, you know, a lot of us nowadays, we convince ourselves we're busy when in actual fact we're not. You know, I say to my kids, I say to everybody, there's 168 hours in the week. You know, and when somebody says to me, I hadn't time to do that, I always, oh Jesus, that's terrible. What happened? You worked for 40, you slept for 56. There's an awful lot of hours left to go for a walk in the park or whatever it is. So I think that we have this idea that we're busy, but there is time, you know, to listen to the birds. I mean, to sit here on a spring morning and listen to the blackbirds, the thrushes singing, and just look at the grass growing, or just look at the cars going by and say, Jesus, I'm glad I'm not in that traffic jam. So I mean, around here we've got St. Anne's Park, which is wonderful. This is wonderful. We have a little park there, Bram Stoker Park, opposite the Crescent. All those parks. I think we should cop ourselves on a little bit more and realise, you know, there is a lot of hours in the week that we don't productively use. And I think going for a walk in the parks, and Dublin City Council, you know, for all the times we criticise because the pothole hasn't been filled in or whatever, they do a magnificent job. Their parks are just amazing. Anywhere you go, like, they're just manicured, the flowers, everything. I couldn't say enough praise for Dublin City Council and their parks department. How do I look after them, how they maintain them. And I mean, this is here today for the people of Dublin. It's theirs. Get out there and use it. It's your park.
Dublin is a city that has a very troubled relationship with its monuments, and over the years many statues and monuments in Dublin have been targeted. For example, Admiral Nelson on O'Connell Street. But for the most part, indeed almost entirely, the monuments that have been attacked in Dublin have commemorated British heroes, British royalty or British generals. But there is one monument to an Irish Republican that has proven among Dublin's most controversial, and that's the monument of Fairview boy Sean Russell here in Fairview Park. This is maybe the only monument in Dublin that's been unveiled not once, not twice, but 3 times, and a monument that's been attacked both by the left wing and the right wing of Irish politics. Now, Sean Russell, it must be said, is one of the most controversial figures in Irish Republican history, and he kind of embodies the Republican idea that England's difficulty is Ireland's opportunity. The belief that Irish independence should be achieved by any means necessary, by dealing with anyone necessary. And he's a product of a time when the IRA really ideologically was all over the shop. In the 1930s, many members of the Republican movement would go to Spain and fight in the Spanish Civil War against fascism. But some at home in the IRA were willing to deal with the likes of Nazi Germany if it meant they could secure arms for their war against Britain. Russell was a veteran of Irish republicanism. He had fought in the Easter Rising of 1916 under Thomas MacDonagh. He had also fought in the Irish War of Independence, and he played a role in the Civil War as well. In fact, for his activities in the Civil War, he was imprisoned in Mountjoy, and he managed to escape from Mountjoy prison during a mass escape of prisoners, a mass escape that he had been involved in organising as well as partaking in. Now, Russell, in the years that followed the Civil War, became the IRA's head of munitions and was essentially tasked with procuring weapons for the movement. And in this capacity, he would find himself dealing firstly with Soviet Russia, going to communist Russia in search of weapons. And when Soviet Russia refuses to deal in any significant way with Republicans, of course, they later go to Nazi Germany. Now, one of the most controversial aspects of Russell's military career in the IRA was advocating for the S-Plan, which was a plan to launch a bombing campaign on mainland Britain during the Second World War. And this plan actually did come to fruition. The IRA, under the leadership of Sean Russell, did actually declare war on Britain in 1939 and launched a number of bombings in mainland Britain. For example, in Coventry, bombings that, it should never be forgotten, did take the lives of many innocent English people. I think 7 in total died as a result of that IRA bombing campaign. Russell ultimately would find himself in Berlin on the search for weapons, coming into contact with Frank Ryan, a left-wing Republican who had fought in the Spanish Civil War but ended up a prisoner of Nazi Germany in Berlin. And the most unusual of deaths Sean Russell has, because he finds himself on a German U-boat in 1940 coming to Ireland with Frank Ryan, a left-wing Republican.
Just what killed Russell is a little bit unclear. The Nazis launched their own investigation into his death, and they believed that a lingering stomach condition or a stomach ulcer may have been to blame for Russell's passing. And Russell's own family kind of back up this story, saying that he had a long history of stomach problems and didn't drink, for example, for that reason. So he dies 100 miles off the Irish coast and he's buried at sea, and poor Frank Ryan makes the decision to return to Germany and later dies in Nazi Germany, a very tragic death for an Irish Republican socialist. Now, the Russell statue is unveiled only 11 years after his passing, which, you know, as far as monuments go, was very, very soon to be erecting a monument. In 1951, this monument is unveiled in front of a huge crowd. The Garda Special Branch actually estimate in their own report as many as 5,000 people are here when the statue is unveiled. A march of 1,000 people had set off from Parnell Square, from Republican headquarters, and this march had grown and grown as it went throughout the city. At the top of the march were something in the region of 130 members of the IRA. And when they get here at the Fairview, there is a brief speech given by an Irish-American Republican ambassador, and then 3 volleys of shots are fired from 6 revolvers, something which annoys the Gardaí, this show of militant republicanism. And Cathal Goulding, a prominent Republican, is seen in a group of men walking away from where the shots had been fired. Now, it doesn't take long for the monument to attract controversy. A letter appears in the Irish Times very soon after it's unveiled, taking issue with the monument and how Sean Russell is presented in the monument. The initial statue looked almost nothing like this. Russell was shown with a clenched fist. And this letter writer to the Irish Times complained that the pose was communistic and that the monument should include a Celtic cross or another symbol of Irish nationalism. A year after being unveiled, slogans or paint was dubbed on the monument, and the following year, in 1953, 2 years after its unveiling, Sean's clenched fist is removed from the monument, presumably attacked by right-wing Republicans who took issue with how the statue was presented. So the statue has a second unveiling in the 1960s, and this time Russell is presented in a more neutral pose. The clenched fist is gone. And again, there's a very significant gathering of Irish Republicans here. And in the years that followed, many Irish Republican groups, including Sinn Féin, would commemorate Russell at the monument. The controversies are all largely forgotten until relatively recent times. In 2005, the statue came to the front pages of newspapers once more. And the irony now was, a monument that had been attacked by right-wing Republicans was attacked by left-wing anti-fascists in 2005. They beheaded the Sean Russell statue and issued a press release in which they said millions of dead Jews was the price Sean Russell was willing to pay for an independent Ireland. The beheading of the monument was not its last attack. In 2009, the National Graves Association unveiled this monument which we have here today, a rather neutral monument indeed. And not long after the unveiling of the new Sean Russell statue, Nazi swastikas were dubbed upon it. And slogans like NGA, Nazi scum, would also appear. NGA, the National Graves Association, who look after and maintain this monument today. So the Russell statue has suffered a barrage of attacks from right across the political spectrum. And it's been said by some that the monument today has a tracking device in its head to prevent it from being beheaded once more.